Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic morning, afternoon, night, whatever time it is in your part of the world. Hope you're having a great time. Today I'm going to be doing a movie review. Now this movie is not a horror film, so I apologise to all the horror fans out there. This is going to be a rare occasion where I do a review of a different genre, but hopefully this will still interest you because it is quite a dark story. And it is a film that absolutely blew me away. So hopefully you stay for the review and you want to go and see it. So it is a foreign film. Unless you can speak Spanish, you're going to have to do some English subtitle reading, so I apologise if that's not your thing. It was from Colombia. So I'm not familiar with Colombian cinema, but I am a big fan of South American cinema, especially Argentinian, Brazilian and Uruguayan films. They've set a really high standard, so I was hoping that this Colombian film would reach that standard, and it really did. It actually blew that standard out of the water. So it's a film that was made in 2007, directed by Andreas Baez, and this film is called Satanas Profile of a Killer. Now, I probably butchered that Spanish name, but I've given it my best, and the story is as follows. A woman makes her living by conning rich men. A priest is tormented by confessions and unforbidden love. A war veteran is desperate to break out of his routine life. But can they resist the temptations of their most inner desires? Passion, violence, and secrets collide when three people put their dreams and fears to the test. Provocative, powerful, and graphic, Satanas illustrates the domino effect that one person's actions can have on the life of others. So it is a film that goes by the structure of Pulp Fiction, where three stories combine into one. So if you like that style of film, then this one should interest you because it is like that. So what we have are three different people in the film that are all made up. It's down to the director's imagination. But at the end, these three lives combine together that lead up to true events. Now this film is based around the Pizzetto massacre, which took place in Bogota, which is the capital city of Colombia. I think it was either the late 80s or early 90s. It was a very, very horrific event. If you want to read up on those events, then feel free to. But don't worry, this is not a film that relies on the ending. It's not a twist. So if you know the real story, it's not a spoiler, because the film is not about the ending. It's about these three stories and how their lives unfold leading up to these moments. So the three stories based around, as I said, three different people but with three similar sort of psychological problems. We've got a war veteran who has since become an English tutor. All of these characters take place in Bogota. So this war veteran is now an English tutor, but he really does fail to fit in with anyone. He feels very lonely. He feels that everybody hates him, and he's a very misunderstood person. And he really does. His mental state deteriorates as the film goes along, and he is on the verge of a mental breakdown. Then we have a very young woman who cons rich men, who steals their money. She's part of this gang that prey upon young rich men and steal them and take all the money that they have. And then we've got a priest who feels very guilty, feels that he's lying to God because he has feelings for someone very close to him. So he's on the verge, he's torn between staying with the priesthood or leaving the priesthood and being with this woman. So all three of these stories, they end up combining together, and at the end, it leads up to these true events. So if you want to know more about the story and how these lives unfold, then please go and see the film for yourself. Now, my thoughts on the film. As I said, Colombian cinema really is foreign to me. I'd never seen a Colombian film before, so I didn't know what to expect, but I was hoping it would reach the standards of its neighbours. But I can say that this is the best film to come out of South America. That, as far as I'm concerned, the films that I've seen have been very good, but this one was absolutely incredible. This is one of my favourite films of all time. I only got this a few days ago. It was a blind buy. I'd never heard of it, which is an absolute crime. I read the back and I thought, this could be good, but I was not expecting just how good it would be. Now, what I love so much about the film is that it paints very real characters and it doesn't judge anyone. I like the idea that, three stories put into one, because if these sort of movies are put together well, it's a really good experience, because you really do, you know more than just one character. And that's what the biggest plus for this film was. When the events unfold at the end, you really do feel sorry for everyone involved, because the director has taken the time to go through each life. But at no stage does it get stuck on one particular person. Each person is pretty much evened out very well. So the pacing is very good. And at the end, it's just a story of tragedy. The events that happened in Bogota in the Pizzetto restaurant, these could have been avoided if these people were luckier and they got help sooner. And that's the tragedy is because it's very, very real. A lot of people tend to deal with their problems alone because they're afraid of how the outside world will judge them, and it's a everyday occurrence. Even on YouTube, people judge others, um, and therefore other people who see this won't go forward with their problems because they're afraid that they're going to be judged the same. So the film, it's just a victim of circumstances for everybody, and the director did such a good job at not portraying anyone as the villain. They're all victims, and they're all victims to circumstance, and they're victims to the everyday world and how harsh and cruel it can be. So he did a great job at not judging a single person, and every single person has very likable qualities, but they're all down, they're brought down by their inner demons, and this is what the film's about. Inner demons. It's very, very psychological, but at the same time it is very, very brutal. Now just a really horrible rape scene in it. It doesn't live up to the rape scene of Irreversible. So if you're an extreme horror fan and you think, this is going to be a really graphic rape scene, it's not graphic, but it is very, very cruel. The violence at the end of this film is barbaric. I was just completely stunned. It's nothing, if you're an extreme horror fan, it's nothing you haven't seen before, but it's just the way it's been done. It's very cold-blooded, it's very cruel. And as I said, you don't even feel hatred towards I guess you could call him villain, because you can feel sorry for him, and that this guy was on the verge of a mental breakdown. And as the film progresses, more and more anger is kept inside him, and he's bottling it all up, and you just know that eventually it's going to explode. And that's why I say, it is a tragedy, because this guy, the people involved, should have got help earlier, and it could have been avoided. The cinematography was absolutely incredible. There was nothing pretentious about the film. The director wasn't trying to be fancy. Apparently this is the director's first film, which is absolutely unbelievable. Hopefully, it could be a negative in his regard, because everything in the future, everything that he does is going to be compared to this one, because this is absolutely incredible. One of my favorite films of all time. The violence and action isn't frequent. It's a very strong build-up, but although there isn't a lot of violence, there's a lot of talking. The build-up is done to perfection because the pacing is excellent. Although there wasn't any sort of violence, the threat of violence is evident throughout the entire film. So you're left on the edge of your seat without even, a lot happening, which is down to the direction. It is an absolutely perfectly directed film. The acting was absolutely incredible. All three main actors in the film on the back there, they did a perfect job. As I said, the director didn't judge anyone, but then it comes down to the ability of the actors to play very real people, and to play people that you don't hate. And half of it is down to the direction, but then the other half is down to the performances from the actors. And it's a real surprise because, as I said, Colombian cinema is not known. So I was expecting a low budget, film that would be alright, but it wouldn't be a masterpiece. But this one just blew everything out of the water. I couldn't believe that I had heard nothing about this one. It really does deserve so much more recognition than what it has already got. I'm not sure if any of you guys out there have seen it, but this is an absolute masterpiece. Brilliant, blew me out of the water. I cannot find a fault in this one at all. It's a very cruel movie. Don't expect a gore fest, because it's not a gore fest, but the violence is very brutal. Although it's not, some of it is graphic, but some of it isn't. Some of it's left to less is best. But it is a film that is a very, very cruel one. You won't leave the film feeling happy, but it certainly is a film that is well worth the experience. So I hope I've made sense. I was just really excited about this film. I haven't seen a film of this standard in a very long time, so I have so much to talk about it, but I should stop now because I don't want to make it too long. Hopefully I've left enough interest for you to go out and see it. I will leave a trailer on my channel page, so if you want to check it out and see if it's something that you'd go for, then by all means please go and check it out. Very, very brutal, very cruel, very sad, but at the same time absolutely fantastic. Alright guys, that's my review for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it made enough sense. As I said, pretty exciting that I've come across a film like this. So trying to put all my thoughts into one and portraying it as clearly as I possibly can. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you have a great day and enjoy yourselves, and until next time, I'll see you later.